In this video, we'll be taking a look at all today's NBA matchups, and I'll break them all down with free winning picks so you can bet smarter and win bigger. But first, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get our picks the second they drop, because when the lines move, the early birds cash in. And if you want the full winning sport picks experience, head over to wspicks.com and check out our VIP packages, or grab a free consultation with one of our professional sports consultants for the sharpest edge you'll find anywhere. That's where the real plays live. We are your bookmaker's worst nightmare. These are the games we're hammering, the ones the books can't afford you to bet. This is Winning Sport Picks. The free picks are about to drop, and they're coming in hot. We start with Boston versus Washington, where Boston lays 8.5 at -110, and Washington catches 8.5 at -104. Anytime Boston is laying this kind of number on the road, the books are projecting a game where the Celtics' efficiency carries them for long stretches, but the margin still depends heavily on shot variance. Washington has been a team that plays better as a large dog because expectations fall and tempo becomes unpredictable. Boston tends to get comfortable early, but those plateau stretches leave room for backdoor covers, especially when the number is near double digits. So the value leans toward Washington plus the 8.5. The total at 228.5 suggests pace, but both teams have multi-minute scoring blackouts that keep the ceiling lower than the number implies. I lean under 228.5. Next, we move to Golden State versus Philadelphia, with the Warriors catching 4 at -110 and Philly laying 3.5 at -115. These mid-range spreads often come down to which team dictates offensive rhythm, and Philadelphia tends to control pace better at home. Golden State can hang around when they generate transition looks, but when forced into half-court possessions, their scoring flattening out becomes more predictable. Philly's defensive structure usually wins these kinds of matchups late, and that edge makes the favorite the more stable side. I like Philadelphia minus 3.5. The total sits between 221.5 and 222.5, depending on the shop, and while both teams can score in bunches, the matchup leans toward extended defensive sequences. I lean under. Now we've got the Lakers versus Toronto, with Los Angeles laying 1 at -108 and Toronto catching 1 at -110. This is effectively a pick'em disguised as a spread, and these spots are usually about who executes better in the final 4 minutes. Toronto has been stronger in grind-out games where pace fluctuates and defensive pressure creates turnovers. The Lakers tend to start fast and stall mid-game before recovering late, but those stretches allow underdogs to stay live. With the number this tight, the value lands with the home side catching the point, so I like Toronto +1. The total at 230.5 is inflated by reputation more than matchup reality. Both teams have defensive schemes that slow down perimeter flow, so I lean under. We go to Utah versus Brooklyn, with the Jazz laying 3.5 at -110 and the Nets catching 4 at +112. Anytime you see a mismatch between the listed spread and the best line price like this, it signals disagreement in the market about actual power rating separation. Utah has the more stable structure, but Brooklyn, as a home dog with extra possessions in the fourth quarter, tends to outperform expectation. The hook on the 3.5 is key because Utah wins plenty of close games that don't reach margin. I like Brooklyn plus the 4. The total at 232 feels high unless both teams hit rhythm early, and because this game profiles more like a trading possession matchup rather than a track meet, I lean under. And finally, Minnesota versus New Orleans, with the Timberwolves laying 11 at -110 and the Pelicans catching 11.5 at -113. Big lines like this are always about pace, not just team quality. Minnesota has the better defensive structure and can create separation, but New Orleans has consistently found ways to stay competitive as large underdogs by slowing the game down and reducing possessions. Blowout margins depend on tempo holding, and this matchup doesn't project to be fast enough for Minnesota to coast to a number that large. I like New Orleans plus 11.5. The total around 234.5 to 235 suggests books expect high scoring, but both teams have defensive stretches that limit runs. That gives me another underlean to close out the slate. Now listen to me, those are the free picks, but the one game I am unloading on tonight, the game that's going to crush your bookie's soul, that's the VIP play of the day at wspicks.com. This is the nuke, the hammer, the max bet, the one play I've circled, the game that will bury your bookmaker 6 feet under. When it hits, and it will, your bookie is going to need a doctor, a lawyer, and maybe even a priest. If you want to ride with me on the biggest bet of the day, get to wspicks.com right now. For the recap, we're rolling with Washington plus 8.5 and the under Philadelphia minus 3.5 and the under Toronto plus 1 with an under lean, Brooklyn plus 4 with an under lean, and New Orleans plus 11.5 with another under lean across the board. This is Winning Sport Picks, where we don't just bet, we bury bookmakers. Smash that subscribe button, drop your favorite plays in the comments, and hammer that like button like you're hammering your bookie into the dirt. We're cashing, we're dominating, and tonight we're dancing on the grave of your bookmaker. Let's go!